Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited to spend the next 30 minutes with you and really find out what ways in which we can improve your business. If you go away with 1-2 improvements to your business on a weekly basis, that makes significant progress over the year. We really hope you enjoy the shows. I encourage you to like and share with your friends, your network, your family members. Based on my book, The Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs, I want to pull out some type of content, some type of nugget every single week, meeting a guest, and that helps you develop your business and become more profitable. So check out the Wilson 360 website, look at some of the coaching programs, look at some of the training courses, click on those links, figure out how can we help you. We have now 14 people on the team that can come and help your business. So cheers everyone, have an awesome day. Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited today to be joined by Tim Ryan. Tim, thanks for joining the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So Tim, tell our audience a little bit about your background, just maybe 2 or 3 minutes about your background and your current situation.
You know, this is a landscaping podcast to some degree, and my background is in landscape architecture. Been in this for about 30 years now. Got out of landscape architecture school, immediately had a hardscape design build, hardscape business, landscape business. And after about 5 years of doing that, you know, it's the typical thing you see with a lot of contractors that get tired of hiring guys that tear up their equipment. One of the things I just fell in love with lighting. It was kind of the icing on the cake. And there was a story that happened where it really kind of made me pivot my whole direction for what I was doing with a customer and the emotional response that they got out of lighting. And it really kind of literally was a light bulb moment for me, pun intended. And from that point on, you know, about 25 years ago, I really just, I sold everything off, said, hey, you know, all I want to do is lighting. I love it. And what's so neat about lighting, Robert, is, you know, landscaping is about exclusion. You're trying to hide things constantly because the sun is indiscriminate. It lights everything. And so we're always putting, screening plants. We're trying to really force perspective and block things out. But in lighting, it's literally, we start with a black canvas and we take our brushes and we paint in the details and we only let people see what we want them to see. And so we hide the things that we don't, and we can bring in the things that are just beautiful. So it truly is pure art. And I fell in love with that. And I did that for a number of years on my own. And then in 2015, I was approached by Lighthouse. Lighthouse Outdoor Lighting is a lighting franchise. And they approached me about coming on with them and developing, basically reinventing their franchise. It was kind of it's a B2C for the most part for years and years. And it was not really a high-end franchise at that point. It was in a little bit of disarray. So we came in, we cleaned house, we developed a new training curriculum and really a new mindset where most lighting franchises and even most lighting businesses that you're going to see out there, their focus is product and how much product you can sell. That was never part of my paradigm. I was always focused on design first, design centric. If you do a good job at design, lighting design, then, you know, everything else is going to follow after that, and the products take care of themselves. So that was kind of our direction in 2015. We ran for about 4 years, just tearing the organization down, rebuilding it. And then in 2018, 2019, we noticed that the market was changing, a lot more people getting into it. And so we rebranded our organization to the Lighthouse Group. And we focused, instead of going on the small B2C projects where the average ticket is between 5 to 15,000, we really started focusing on strategic partnerships where we're looking at tickets that are, low six figures to mid to high six figures for lighting projects that are exclusive properties and working with those types of projects. So just understanding where the market was going, that was kind of our key. And over the past several years, we've opened Lighthouse Design Studio, which partners directly with landscape companies who are looking to offer more high-end services to their lighting clients or their landscape clients who would like to add lighting. And that's just kind of how we've evolved to where we are today. And we're chugging along. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
Now, are your primary clients mainly residential, or does that include commercial? Is a little bit of a mix of both?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Lighthouse Outdoor Lighting, we're split. So in the Lighthouse group, like I said, there's two companies. There's the original Lighthouse Outdoor Lighting. That is our franchise. I consider those our boots on the ground. So we have 22 locations, primarily in the Eastern U.S., where we have individual designers in local areas, regions. They'll do localized design. They do all the installation. And then we have Lighthouse Design Studio, which primarily focuses on lighting design nationwide, where we'll work with not only our people, but we'll work with landscape architects, high-end builders, and other types of commercial property. So we do a mix, everything from high-end residential to commercial, municipal type projects as well too.
And one of the things that we talked about offline was, I just remember the days when I had my landscape company back in Phoenix, and we maybe sold a handful of lighting projects to some commercial clients, but there was certainly a ton of money left on the table because we didn't have that knowledge on staff, and I think we sort of fumbled together. Anytime we did need a project, we either went to our local, like a Site One or Ewing, or maybe some other partner that maybe turned up at our industry event. So I think having that knowledge or available knowledge, I think would be really beneficial to a lot of landscape companies out there. How what have you seen out there in terms of, is there something missing there?
Yeah, and that's a really great, insightful question. And yes, to your point, there is a huge skills gap. And I actually experienced this myself when I made the jump from going to landscaping and said, hey, I'm just going to jump into lighting. And I was your typical landscaper that, ran to probably John Deere Landscapes at that time, now Site One. You go pick up some light fixtures, you throw them out, sprinkle them out with some trees, throw them against some walls, and anybody can do that, right? I didn't really know what I didn't know until I got into the industry and started to learn about lighting and really began to understand that even though we're putting luminaires and light in the outdoor landscape space, business as art is really more akin to interior lighting and electrical than it is to landscape, just simply because of the understanding the qualities of light, photometrics, luminous composition. There's a lot of those skill sets that guys just don't have. And so what we wind up getting, Robert, is for most people when they do lighting, it's a very pragmatic approach to lighting. And I consider this, when you're looking, prescriptive versus artistic lighting. And prescriptive lighting, I would classify that as what most landscapers do. Most companies, they're going out, they're making sure the walkways and the stairs are safe, they're illuminated, they're doing just the very basic things. But what they're missing, and the thing that I missed coming into this industry, is the artistic side of things, creating complete compositions with layering levels of light and creating depth. And really what we're doing is we're creating scenes. This art of what we do is probably, like I said, closer to an arterial lighting designer or even stage lighting. Someone that does stage lighting where they're really working with shaping light and understanding how this looks together. So when I was doing it, I left a ton of money on the table just simply because I didn't know what I was doing. And then once I really started getting years into doing this, nowadays there's helpful organizations that take a lot of the learning curve out, but it was a long road to try and figure this out, having peer groups that, you could commiserate with and try to learn from each other. There's just a huge difference. And so that's where I'd say there's a big difference between, landscapers that install lighting companies that like ours that really focus on the design part of things. And to your point earlier, leaving money on the table, we typically, when we go and we partner with landscape companies or builders or whoever's doing this, we can generally bring 2, 3, even 4 times more revenue into a project just simply because of a holistic design approach, understanding the scene, bringing more products in, expanding the scope of the lighting design, which increases the revenue of the project overall. So yeah, it's important to really have a good partner on your side to do that can really kind of consolidate that for you.
I want to dive into that further. So, we have a potential prospect that somebody on the show hears. Thanks. So I'm gonna reach out to Tim. Tim, what does it then look like? I mean, are you or one of your team coming into that company and educating either the owner, or is it the account managers, or is it all of the above? And then are you doing sort of demos? Because there's 2 parts to this. There's the learning, the education up front, and then that partnership moving forward. But then I think one of the things I've seen, especially experienced in my own company, is that ongoing either maintenance or inspection of those lightings. And where does that lie? Is it the irrigation technician or somebody else in the team? So I know there's several questions in there, but I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, no, and those are great questions. So I think one of the biggest hurdles when we go to work with a new company that is, really wanting to expand their services, one of the key barriers we have to get through is understanding who is going to be dealing with the client. Now, either sometimes we'll go in and we'll act as an agent for that individual company. And that usually winds up being more successful when we come in because we can have direct access to the client. We can do our discovery session with them so we have a clear understanding of the scope. And then we walk through the phases of design. Most companies, landscape companies, they really don't do that. They may do that on the landscape side of things, where they're going through, obviously stepping through schematic design to design documentation, all the way fully to construction documents. But a lot of times when you get into lighting, they're just throwing fixtures pictures in there as part of the scope, and there really is no thought or discovery that goes into that portion of it, which is why I call that more of a prescriptive lighting scenario. So the biggest barrier to that, I would say, Robert, is most of our partners, they just don't know. They don't know how to sell it. They don't have the physical pictorial assets to be able to convey the ideas. And so one of the things that we've designed and really tried to do was create lookbooks and digital assets and tools that we can lend to our partners so that they can go in on the front end if they're doing a discovery session on a project with a client where we're not present. They can have these assets and these tools and these pictures in order to understand, where do I need to be budgeting this project? Where should it really come in based off the property value, the square footage, the density of the landscape and hardscape? And so those are the difficult questions that, our partners really have. And so when we come in, we educate them on that side of it so they can confidently go in, have those assets and do that. Now, as we go through, there's several ways you can work with us. Certainly you can have your own team do all the installations and we can simply just do the design, but we also do full turnkey. So typically in a scenario, in a perfect scenario, we would design it. We would get it in the books. And then ideally, we'd either work with a team, myself or one of my designers on my team. We come out, we help place the lights according to design, make sure everything's installed, according to what was sold in the design. And then very importantly, and the thing that gets missed probably most frequently is going back and doing a night aiming. We get very close in our designs. We pick out the right lumens, beam spread, color temperatures, and placements. But sometimes you got to tweak those things. Sometimes you might need an optical lens. Sometimes you might need a hex louver. You might need a different shroud. And so it's those fine details that really separate the landscapers from the lighting pros. It's those things that it's all about experience, mitigating glare, and just shaping the light in the scene that's in front of you. So there's a lot of different ways to work with us, but our strength is in supporting teams that we partner with all the way through, taking all the guesswork out of it. Just 30 plus years of doing it with all the resources and assets that we have. It's very helpful for our team.
How does innovation play into this? Because obviously things are always being updated. You've got the LED lighting. I'm sure some of the fixtures are being updated on a continuous basis. How are you not only keeping up with that, but also, again, educating your partners on some of those innovations?
Exactly. Yeah. So, there's a funny thing about technology. Some of it never changes. Some of it does. And we are seeing, there's a boom of color, strip lighting, neon. There's all kinds of things that are now coming into the low voltage market. A few of the things that we're still behind on in the low voltage outdoor market is obviously controls, but that is starting to come along when we're working with integrators. And that's one of the advantages of working with a lighting designer like Lighthouse is, our team members, we're constantly going to shows. We're always immersing ourselves in the new products that are coming out, going to different trade shows that are focused on landscape lighting. So we're understanding what these companies are innovating. And we also sometimes they're coming to us and they're asking us, hey, how does this work? You guys like this? What could be changed? Because as you and I both know, innovation comes from the field. The guys that have the hands-on, that are working it, that are doing it, they really know best. They see the weaknesses in a product and can really inform that. So the smart manufacturers, they're coming to their clients and they're getting feedback on their products. And so we do have a hand in some of that as well too, in shaping what the future of new products are. So landscape companies, though, they just don't stay up on that because there's so many different things. They have to stay up on hardscape, irrigation, plants, newest trends in design, all the software that goes along with that. And so it's a lot to ask. And so that's another reason why having a specialist partner that does all that, we're up to speed on all that current material and the current technology. So It's very helpful.
You touched on this. I want to ask another question regarding the controllers, the use of smart technology, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
How is that beginning to evolve? Are you seeing a lot more of that, or is it still at early stages?
Well, no, it's actually the demand for it has gotten much greater, specifically since we're starting to see integrators over the past 2-3 years. You're talking about AV integrators. They never really came into the landscape lighting side of things. But you and I both know in the outdoor living space, our clients are always looking for ways to maximize the outdoor space, whether it's going to be with outdoor entertainment areas, TVs, audio. And so now we're seeing the AV guys that are usually first in product, they're starting to come into these outdoor spaces and they're being asked to do lighting. And what they're being confronted with is there's a serious lack of controls in the low voltage market, unlike what they have on the interior side. And so we are starting to see now new technology with a few manufacturers where they are starting to integrate that type of technology into, mainline AV services for your homes, whether it be Savant, Lutron, Crestron, any of these type of home automation services. So it's important going into the design phase of things, just knowing what products that are in there. But it is becoming more of a thing. And really, one of the reasons why too is we're starting to see more awareness of dark sky sustainable lighting practices, which are very important. We believe in that very much. That if you are lighting an outdoor space, we try to be sensitive to blue light for clients. We try to be sensitive to trees. They still need to have a time of rest as well. And so this is where controls start to come in, because proximity controls with people moving in, occupancy sensors, you're talking about being able to work into AV systems where you can dim these systems down. I mean, who's going to be looking at a lighting system at 2 a.m. unless you're having a party? So it's best just shut those off or dim them down or have a security zone. And so this is becoming much more of a trend now as people are becoming much more aware of sustainable lighting practices.
Do you feel as though especially I suppose your design team, are they getting pulled more into offering more than just the lighting, getting more involved in some of the outdoor living controls, TVs, sound systems, security, or do you have a pretty good line of where your expertise finishes?
Yeah. So again, that's we danced around with that. So part of our rebrand back in 2020, we looked at audio, because we're just like the AV professionals being asked to do lighting. Lighting guys that are working outside are asked to do audio as well too. And there are a number of lighting companies that have successfully integrated audio into their business model. But for us, when you start to add multiple services, we started looking at, we didn't want to be that company that is a jack of all trade and a master of a few. We just didn't want to put all these different services on. Our focus has always been and always will be lighting design. That's our specialty. And so for us, we think it's best if we just stay in our lane and just be the absolute best at what we do and have great lighting or good audio partners, good AV integration partners. And really what that does is, look, I don't need to be the best at audio, but as long as I have a partner that's excellent. Again, it comes back down to my brand. I'm excellent at lighting, but when it comes to audio, I'm probably not as good. Right. So, I want to make sure that for my brand and my client, that they have a phenomenal experience. And if that means me bringing in a partner that's, the best that they can be in the audio or the AV integration, that means a lot to me, because to me, at the end of the day, it's about my client having an amazing experience. And, that's the way we built our new brand on.
Okay, awesome. How just as we start to wrap things up here, what does the future look like for the lighting industry? Partnerships with landscape companies, I suppose getting that knowledge, that learning out there to all the different people involved in the green industry.
I'll start with some of the challenges. So some of the challenges that we have working with partners, we're always seeking good partners, whether it be landscape architects that maybe don't do a lot of lighting, but could do more or would like to provide a better product for their clients. That's the type of client that we're looking for. And so those are always open invitations, and that's always a good way to go. But going forward, what we are seeing too is there's a lot of organizations now that are trying to educate not only people in the green industry segments, whether it be irrigation, landscaping, that are contractors. We've got organizations like the AOLP, the Association of Outdoor Lighting Professionals. They do a great job at bringing in techs kind of from the bottom end up, teaching techs about lighting, proper lighting principles and techniques. And then we also have an organization that I'm currently a board member of. It's the International Landscape Lighting Institute, ILLI for short. It was founded by Jan Moyer. She was kind of the godfather lady of, or the godmother of landscape lighting, very well known in that circle. And what we try to do is we try to help other design professionals. So if you're in the design space already, an architect, engineer, designer, we focus more on that group of people, kind of a top down, where they really don't understand the lighting. And that's where they come in. They can spend, we actually just had an intensive course here about 2 weeks ago in Oklahoma, and 24 students. We have a class of 24 that come in. You register, and you're spending 5 intensive days from 8 a.m. until about 11 o'clock at night with hands-on doing lighting and understanding the dynamics of light in a landscape space. Plus, you're getting all that education. So that's a great venue if you're wanting to get more into the understanding of lighting, get more into the design side of lighting versus just throwing path lights out and pragmatic side of lighting. ILLI, AOLP, those are great organizations to get involved with, to advance your learning.
What's the best way for people to find out more, get in touch with you? Just maybe their interest has been piqued and they want to learn a little bit more. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, best way to reach out is through my website, and that is going to be be lights, www.lights, lights.design, not a .com. Lights.design, or they can find me on LinkedIn as well too, Tim Ryan.
Tim, been an absolute pleasure today. Thanks for educating us more about the lighting industry. Good luck with your rebranding, your franchising, and thanks for your time today.
Fabulous. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Cheers. Hopefully that was pure, dead brilliant for you today. We've got some great Ironman mindset takeaways for your business and for your leadership role. This is Robert Klinkenbeard, the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Check us out on all the different podcast channels. Check us out on YouTube, like, share. Also check out our website, thecommerciallandscaper.com or wilson360.com. Check out some of the digital courses. Check out the book, The Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs. We want to make sure we have a pure, dead, brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.